Hello, my name is Carole. This is my channel, Sew Carole, and today I'm showing you the results of a collaboration that I have done with Kris from Sew Notes, who's based in Canada and I'm based in England. Both of us use occasionally the Lutterloh system. She's far more proficient at it than I am, but because I'm still learning. But she approached me to say, would you like to do a collab using one of these patterns? And I jumped on it because I haven't made anything from Lutterloh. I think I've only made one thing this year, and I kept on putting it off. Come on, I've got to make another project, and I haven't. The reason I have this system is that my mum bought this back in, looked at the date and it says 1971. I started sewing with it last year. When I started my channel, I thought that was a really good way of kind of encouraging me to start learning this system. So this dates back from 1971. It's brilliant. It's got some amazing retro patterns in it. But obviously to do the collaboration, we had to do something more current. Every now and again, they produce supplements, and luckily, both of us had one of the same supplements, number 325. So that was the one that we chose to work from. So in this supplement, you have all these different designs, just like a pattern that you would buy. And obviously you've got the line drawings. What we did to decide is we each went through this and chose 3 that we would like to have a go at doing. We put them in separate envelopes, and then she sent me a picture of her 3 envelopes and I sent her a picture of mine, and then we just said to each other, open envelope 1, 2 or 3, and that's how we ended up with the designs. I was very lucky because my top favourite was chosen, and this was number 24. So it was just a top with just like a drawstring waist. Now, before I get too in depth about how I got on and everything like that, if you've never heard of the Lutterloh system, it's all about using 2 measurements to create a perfectly fitting garment. That, I will say, is not always the case. This is the kit that you get given. You get this special measuring tape and some pins and whatever. This obviously has been replaced over the years, and you get a French curve by them. Might get something very different now, I'm not sure. I think you get a DVD and everything telling you how to do it, but this is the 70s version. Anyway, so before I get too involved in telling you how we got on, I'm going to put in a quick bit of footage of how I drew out my pattern, just to give you an idea. So you've got these 2 measurements, you've got a dot in the centre, you get these pieces, and you have this dot, this cross, and you put the pin in the cross and you measure it out. You'll see much more when you see the footage, but just in case you've never heard of this system or you haven't seen any of my other Lutterloh videos, I just thought I'd put you a tiny quick bit of footage in just to show you actually how you create the patterns. These are the pattern pieces that I ended up with after doing all my little drawing bits. This is the placket that I'm going to need to create the drawstring, obviously a pocket. This shows you actually that the facing, when it's got these certain lines here, it means you've got to create the facing. And you get the front and the back. Sorry about the rustling and the noisy. And again, you can see where there's meant to be facings. So quite a nice basic pattern to start with. One thing that did concern me is it's one of the markings it's got for a fuller figure. So I'm always a bit cautious that it's going to be a bit oversized. However, to do the measurements this time, you're meant to just have the bust and the waist. I chose my upper bust measurement this time because I'm quite narrow shouldered, and that so far has worked for me. So I've got your pieces. I then had this wonderful piece of rayon challis that I've had in my stash for a long time, looking just for the right project. It's kind of sort of geometric-y, I don't know, sort of Mediterranean tiles type sort of fabric. So I made it up, and it was quite simple to do. Obviously it's just a front and a back, it's no sleeves, you've got some neck facings to make and armhole facings. I'm not a massive fan of facings. I did the neck ones, as you can see. So I've got the next ones there, and that you create yourself. You can choose whichever depth you want to do. You just use that pattern that you've drawn out. But armhole facings I really don't like because I find that they can flop out. I didn't also want to use bias binding either because it was quite a gaping armhole. So I created bands, you know, like you would on a neckband on a t-shirt or something like that. I actually just created 2 bands and sewn them onto the end of the sleeve, as you can see there. And I think that's given quite a nice finish. Also, it means the weight sort of drops the shoulders down a bit. Now the bit was the placket. So obviously this is what you get given. And this was for the ties, which you probably don't need to cut that out. You could work it out yourself. They only give you the measurements to draw out the placket. So what I did, if I show you the placket, it might help a bit. I had this placket, I made some ties. I sewed the tie onto the inside of the placket and I hemmed the top down. So that meant, obviously I had 2 of these, that I had it sewn in ready. I also hemmed the bottom bit up as well and folded in the sides. So I then sewed this whole thing onto the inside bottom right or left, can't work out which it was, corner of the garment. Once I sewed it down the sides, kept the bottom open, made sure that was aligned with the hem, and then I sewed a line down the centre so the drawstrings would kind of stay separate. So I'll now show you on the garment the inside and how I did it. So that is what I ended up with. 2 channels basically with the ties secured to the top of the placket. So that worked. That worked. They come out nicely, they draw up nicely. In hindsight, I think I would have liked a longer section of drawstring. Drawstrings are the perfect length, but I think this could have actually been a bit longer. Not sure what you think, but that's how I did that bit. And that was the only kind of complicated bit to kind of get your head around. Because of course with Lutterloh you have no instructions at all. You're on your own. If you're very much a beginner, then I would suggest only choosing beginner patterns. And also you may have a printed pattern somewhere in your drawers or whatever that will have similar kind of instructions to make something. And that's what I've used before, certainly when I've done trousers. So what I should do now is try this on for you and see what you think. I am very excited to see how Kris got on because she had a dress and I'm very jealous of it actually. It's not even one that I kind of looked at when I was looking through the supplements. So I'm very excited to see how she got on. So don't forget, when you finish watching this video, please go over to her channel, Sew Notes. I'll put the link down below and you can see how she got on with her pattern. But I'm going to try this on for you now. So here we have the finished garment. So this was from the Lutterloh 325 and it was the drawstring top. As you can see, it's got a nice just bit of drawstring detail there, as I described. It's quite a floaty, baggy top. If you wanted to make it a bit tighter, then you could put some darts in the back so it doesn't billow out so much. But I really like it. It's a very loose, kind of evening-y top. I've got it over some navy twill trousers that I've made. But I'm really happy. The sleeves, I really like the sleeves, how they came out just with that band on there. And the neck facings are nice. It fits me nicely on the shoulders. I think doing that, using the upper bust measurement really helped me there because it could have been danger of falling off. But I really, really like this little detail here. I think it looks quite smart. I am very pleased with it. Don't know what you think. Of course I got my pocket, but I'm never going to put anything in there, but there we go. Thank you so much for joining me. I do hope you've enjoyed this collaboration with Kris. Certainly got me in the Lutterloh spirit again to do some more projects from the books, because I have quite a few supplements. If you're really interested in the Lutterloh system, then go back and watch some of my old videos. I will say I'm not promoting the system in any way. It is just what my mum gave me, because she didn't really use it. She used it a few times in the beginning, but then it was put away in a cupboard for many, many years. So that's why I really wanted to try starting to use it. So I am a beginner with it. I've been sewing all my life, but with Lutterloh I'm still very much a beginner. So last year I started this system and following my journey on it. And I think I'm in a good place with Lutterloh now. I think I kind of know how it works. Kris is certainly, I will say, far more proficient at it than I am. But I am pleased with this top, and I'm just so thrilled I was asked to do this collaboration. Thank you again for joining me. I'm going to pop over now and see how she got on with her dress. See you soon.